Welcome to Bears Royal Guys. Please support me by subscribing and getting me to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. A front office war room has just leaked a document that could tear the Chicago Bears' future to pieces. And it isn't about a star quarterback. It's an undrafted free agent defensive tackle. Tucked deep inside Jaden Loving's standard rookie contract is a hidden $40 million performance trigger that his agency secretly planted, and his dominant minicamp film just set it off. This contract loophole doesn't just threaten to wipe out Ryan Poles' entire salary cap blueprint for 2026, it threatens to force emergency trades of beloved veteran stars to keep Loving in Chicago. If this precedent holds, it will break the NFL's rookie wage scale forever, leaving the board in total chaos. Today, we break down the leaked film, the mathematical crisis at Halas Hall, and whether the Bears must pay the man now or brace for an unprecedented contract standoff. The internet erupted when grainy photographs of what appears to be an internal Halas Hall contract addendum surfaced late last night, sending shockwaves through NFL front offices. What was supposed to be a standard low-risk signing of an undrafted free agent out of Wake Forest has suddenly transformed into a multi-million-dollar emergency that has Chicago's executive branch scrambling for answers. Jaden Loving arrived at minicamp without the fanfare of an early round pick, but his tape told a vastly different story from the moment the pads popped. In drill after drill against the Bears' first-string offensive line, Loving displayed a first-step acceleration that looked less like an unheralded rookie and more like an elite interior game wrecker. His raw power, low leverage, and terrifying swim move left veteran guards grasping at air, creating a backfield disruption on nearly every single snap. The athletic profile that allowed him to dominate at the collegiate level translated instantly to the professional ranks, forcing coaches to move him up the depth chart faster than anyone anticipated. But as the hype surrounding his on-field performance reached a fever pitch, whispers began circulating that the front office was panicking behind closed doors instead of celebrating their diamond in the rough. The source of that panic is now clear. Loving's agent did not sign a traditional 3-year minimum salary contract without a fight. Tucked deep within the non-guaranteed structural annexes of the deal was an unprecedented clause, a calculated gamble designed to exploit every loophole in the collective bargaining agreement. Understanding how a rookie free agent commands this kind of leverage requires looking closely at how the modern NFL contract landscape operates. Typically, undrafted players sign standard 3-year agreements with tiny signing bonuses and strictly locked-in base salaries, giving the team total control with zero financial risk. When Loving went undrafted out of Wake Forest, despite showing elite flashes of quickness, multiple teams entered a bidding war for his potential as a high-upside developmental tackle. While most franchises offered basic practice squad guarantees, Loving's representation took a radically different approach. They agreed to accept lower upfront money in exchange for a dynamic performance escalator annex tied strictly to snap counts, tackle for loss thresholds, and quarterback pressure percentages. The front office, operating under the assumption that an undrafted rookie would take years to break into the main rotation, signed off on what they assumed were impossibly high metrics. They believed these benchmarks were distant safety nets, structural fluff added to satisfy an ambitious agent while keeping the cap hit completely negligible. What Ryan Poles and his cap strategists failed to anticipate was Loving immediately earning first-team reps in minicamp and triggering the first tier of those escalators before the regular season even kicked off. The leaked document reveals that if Loving maintains his current trajectory and hits his playing time thresholds, his contract automatically converts from a standard rookie deal into a massive multi-year extension worth up to $40 million in potential payouts. The sheer audacity of the clause has left contract negotiators around the league stunned, as it essentially bypasses the NFL's strict rookie wage scale. The visual evidence from training camp only solidifies the reality that this contract trigger is actively exploding in real time. In the leaked practice film accompanying the financial reports, Loving is seen completely overwhelming interior blockers during team scrimmage periods, On one play, he explodes off the ball with a lightning quick split of a double team, penetrating 5 yards into the backfield before the running back even secures the handoff. On another, he utilizes a violent bull rush to drive a veteran center straight into the quarterback's lap, showcasing a rare combination of raw, functional strength and elite closing speed. It is the kind of game-altering disruption that defensive coordinators spend whole draft classes trying to find, yet it comes attached to a terrifying financial clock. The leaked document shows specific signature lines highlighting Clause 12-B, which explicitly states that upon hitting a 35% snap threshold combined with a top-tier pressure rate, the contract's base structure automatically escalates into top market defensive tackle money over the next 3 seasons. The coaching staff wants to play the best players to win games right now, but the front office realizes that every snap Loving takes brings them closer to a financial cliff. It is an absolute nightmare scenario where on-field success directly triggers an off-field roster crisis. The tension inside the building is palpable as the staff reconciles the thrilling reality of an unheralded superstar with the cold, hard math of a leaked contract that threatens to rewrite the rules of NFL roster building. To fully grasp the magnitude of the disaster brewing at Halas Hall, you have to understand the meticulous multi-year spreadsheet that General Manager Ryan Poles built to keep this franchise competitive. Ever since taking the reins in Chicago, Poles has operated like a surgeon, methodically gutting bloated veteran contracts, absorbing dead cap hits, and clearing the books so the Bears could transition into a sustainable powerhouse. His long-term financial roadmap was carefully constructed around a very specific timeline: build a foundation of cheap rookie talent, selectively sign high-tier veterans on structured short-term deals, and preserve maximum financial flexibility. Under Poles' strict blueprint, every single dollar projected for the next 3 seasons had a designated target. Heavy capital was earmarked for upcoming cornerstone extensions, starting with second-team All-Pro right tackle Darnell Wright and safety Jaquan Brisker, followed closely by the looming, record-breaking mega deal for franchise quarterback Caleb Williams. On paper, the strategy was flawless, giving the front office total control while avoiding the restructuring traps that plague desperate teams. But that entire mathematical fortress relied on one absolute unshakable variable: the rookie wage scale keeping raw depth players dirt cheap. The activation of Jaden Loving's secret $40 million escalator throws a massive wrench directly into the gears of Poles' salary cap engine. Because the Bears are currently navigating a tight cap window with minimal immediate wiggle room, absorbing an unexpected multi-million-dollar spike for an undrafted defensive tackle is a financial impossibility without immediate collateral damage. In the NFL's hard cap system, money doesn't just appear out of nowhere. Every dollar forced onto the ledger by Loving's clause must be stripped away from another section of the roster. If Loving hits his snap count and pressure thresholds, his cap hit instantly ballooning to top-tier interior defender status forces the front office to make horrifying compromises. The money Poles painstakingly saved to lock up Darnell Wright long-term suddenly vanishes overnight. The emergency reserve funds designated for mid-season injury replacements or veteran depth pieces are completely wiped out. Even worse, it jeopardizes the massive war chest meant to surround Caleb Williams with elite protection and elite weapons for the remainder of his rookie contract. What was supposed to be a golden era of calculated spending has been suddenly transformed into an accounting nightmare, leaving the front office trapped between honoring a rogue contract or destroying their own roster balance. The immediate fallout creates a full-blown crisis inside the executive suites, threatening to spark a domino effect that could gut the Bears' core defensive identity. To absorb Loving's sudden pay raise without exceeding the league's strict cap ceiling, Poles will be forced to accelerate hard decisions on several established veterans. High-priced defensive line anchors like Dayo Odingbo or Grady Jarrett, players brought in to provide stable production while young talent developed, instantly transform into prime cap casualty targets. Cutting or trading these proven contributors might free up the immediate cash needed to satisfy Loving's escalating deal, but it completely destroys the defensive line's rotational depth. Furthermore, restructuring other veteran contracts to kick the financial can down the road is the exact cardinal sin Pauls promised he would never commit, as it risks burying Chicago in dead money penalties for years to come. If the front office attempts to void or fight the leaked clause, they risk alienating an emerging superstar and igniting an ugly public contract holdout before he even plays a full season. If they pay him, they validate a rogue agent's loophole and trigger a cap panic that threatens to derail Chicago's championship window before it officially opens. The secret behind this financial shockwave traces back to an extraordinary strategy devised by Loving's agency, a tactical maneuver that completely outflanked the Bears' negotiating team. When Loving went undrafted despite possessing third-round film, his representatives realized that signing a standard, low-money rookie contract would trap him in 3 years of near-minimum wage servitude, while the team extracted peak athletic output. Instead of accepting the standard rookie template, the agency weaponized a rare structural dynamic in late-stage college free agency. They offered to take a smaller upfront signing bonus in exchange for custom performance contingent escalator clauses. They carefully calculated that if Loving stepped onto an NFL field with his elite raw quickness, he would rapidly blow past basic depth chart metrics. The contract was engineered with hyper-specific trigger thresholds, demanding that if Loving hit targeted benchmarks in snap percentage, tackle for loss ratios, and interior quarterback pressures, his third-year compensation would automatically scale to match top 15 defensive tackle money across the league. Halas Hall executives, viewing him strictly as a developmental flyer, foolishly signed off on the language under the assumption those tiers were practically unachievable. That miscalculation has now exposed a historic loophole in the collective bargaining agreement that threatens to permanently reshape how NFL teams manage undrafted talent. For decades, the league's strict rookie wage scale provided front offices with complete price control over first-year players, locking rookies into unalterable, cost-controlled contracts regardless of their immediate impact. By successfully embedding an automatic pay escalator directly into an undrafted free agent's deal, Loving's agent did not just secure a personal victory, he established a precedent that could break the entire rookie wage framework. Agents across the country are already studying the leaked contract, preparing to demand identical performance-tiered annexes for top UDFAs in future draft classes. If this strategy spreads, NFL teams will no longer be able to hoard high-upside developmental talent on dirt-cheap deals, effectively forcing front offices to evaluate undrafted free agents with the same contract precision and cap paranoia usually reserved for first-round picks. Inside the halls of the NFL Players Association, the leaked addendum is already being hailed as a monumental strategic triumph, while league executives privately view it as an existential threat to roster management. Loving's representation executed a high-stakes gamble that bet entirely on their players' on-field dominance, successfully turning a roster fringe opportunity into a masterclass of financial leverage. By forcing the Bears to absorb top-tier defensive tackle pricing before year 2, the agency effectively stripped Chicago of their maximum cost control window. The front office now finds itself entirely at the mercy of the monster it inadvertently sanctioned. Ryan Pauls and his cap strategists are left nursing a self-inflicted wound, realizing that in their eagerness to sign an athletic gem off the college scrap heap, they handed an agent the keys to their entire financial future. The atmosphere inside Halas Hall quickly deteriorated from quiet concern to an outright emergency as the leaked addendum spread across sports media like wildfire. Emergency board meetings were convened behind closed doors, bringing General Manager Ryan Pauls, head coach Matt Eberflus, and executive leadership into intense, late-night deliberations. The central point of friction was clear. The football staff wanted their most explosive interior disruptor on the field at all costs, while the cap strategists warned that every single snap Jaden Loving took brought the franchise one step closer to financial ruin. With the media circling and rival agents closely monitoring the situation, Poles faced an impossible dilemma: adhering to the contract's escalating terms without adjusting the surrounding roster would push the Bears over the salary cap limit before the season even reached its midpoint. The front office was forced to draft contingency plans, recognizing that the only way to retain Loving without destroying their long-term flexibility was to immediately shed significant veteran payroll. Rumors immediately began swirling through league channels regarding potential trade targets and cap casualties on the Chicago defensive line. Established veterans with sizable contracts, including pass rusher Dayo Odeyingbo and interior anchor Grady Jarrett, suddenly found their names thrust into trade speculation. Front office negotiators began quietly placing calls to prospective trade partners, gauging market interest for proven defensive contributors who could be moved to clear millions in vital cap space. Film sessions took on a somber tone as analysts evaluated which player's departure would cause the least damage to the defensive scheme. Sacrificing a veteran leader to pay an undrafted rookie was a massive culture risk, yet the alternative, allowing Loving's contract trigger to blindside the team's long-term plan, was deemed far worse. The locker room felt the tremor, with veteran players suddenly aware that an unheralded rookie's secret contract clause had put their own roster spots on the line. As trade talks escalated, the front office also had to brace for the very real possibility of a contractual standoff if Loving's representation refused to renegotiate the terms. Loving's agency held all the leverage. Their client was outperforming every metric on the practice field, making any attempt by the team to bench or suppress his snaps look like obvious bad faith contract manipulation. Such a move would draw immediate scrutiny from the NFL Players Association and ruin the franchise's reputation among free agents. Ryan Poles was trapped in a high-stakes game of chess, balancing the immediate need for defensive dominance against the cold reality of roster survival. With the regular season rapidly approaching, the front office was running out of time to patch the breach, knowing that every practice rep brought them closer to an unprecedented roster shakeup. When you pull back from the spreadsheet chaos and study the tape, it becomes immediately obvious why Jaden Loving's agent had the audacity to demand such unprecedented financial terms. The film does not lie. Loving possesses an interior burst and explosive lateral quickness that draws terrifying real-world comparisons to peak Aaron Donald. On rep after rep against first-team offensive linemen, his low center of gravity, violent hand placement, and electric first step allow him to blow through single blocks and split double teams before the pocket even forms. He isn't just winning reps, he is systematically wrecking offensive schemes, collapsing the pocket from the inside out and creating catastrophic disruption in the backfield. For a Chicago defense that has desperately lacked a true game-altering interior pass rusher, Loving represents the ultimate paradox: an unheralded rookie who is simultaneously the most dynamic player on the field and the most dangerous contract bomb in the building. As the regular season approaches, Ryan Poles and the executive board stand at a monumental crossroads that will define the long-term trajectory of the franchise. The Bears can attempt to take the high conflict route, bench Loving, artificially restrict his snap counts to suppress his escalator triggers, and risk igniting a bitter public contractual standoff before his career even officially begins. But playing political games with a generational interior disruption threat risks destroying team morale, alienating the locker room, and ruining Chicago's standing among elite agents across the league. The alternative is just as radical: embrace the financial cost, execute the necessary trade sacrifices on the roster, and pay the young phenom now before his market value explodes even higher. The precedent set by this secret clause has permanently, fundamentally altered the NFL contract landscape, proving that true talent will always find a way to break the system. Now, the burden rests squarely on Halas Hall to answer the ultimate question. Do you risk a scorched earth standoff with your best young defensive playmaker, Or do you rewrite your entire financial blueprint and pay the man today?